All right, guys, this is something that is really hard for me to talk about, and it's really more for our crew and the people in this community, chefs, for example, that have been touched by Randy Ramsley at Mesa Farm. It didn't feel right to do as a memo, so we're doing it like this, and I hope it's appropriate, but if it doesn't apply to you, feel free to just scroll past. But Randy Ramsley has decided to retire. There won't be any more of his wonderful cheese. This feels like a major loss. Our mission, fight to preserve the food traditions of our ancestors. When something like this happens, it can feel like a profound and even personal loss, a defeat in our mission. However, it's Randy's own words that have taught me to see past the surface, to see that his existence at all at that farm is a big victory for wholesome and sustainable food. When he says things like, don't despair if you can't convince the majority of the people of the value of real food. He said the truth has weight. Maybe it's not your role to convince the majority of the people. Maybe you are the keeper of the flame. So teach anyone, even one person, because the truth has weight, like he said, and it will not be extinguished. There's lots of examples of the people at Caputo's that he has influenced in a deep and even spiritual way. And I know there's a lot of chefs out there that feel the same way about his farm and about him himself. But there's another story that I like to tell about the value of someone like Randy's existence adds to the entire community. Now, he was farming down in Caneville, near Capitol Reef National Park. A lot of other farmers down there, very conservative area. He was not well accepted in this community for his very hippie-like values, for his regenerative and organic, and all these things that he talked about were not well received by his neighbors. But there was one man who he befriended, who was an old farmer named Dee. And Dee would come over and help Randy prune his peach trees, talk about the goats. And one day when he was eating one of Randy's peaches, talked about how great it tasted, and it tasted like a peach when he was a kid. And they started this whole friendship and exchanged best practices, and Dee was able to see past Randy's liberal values. And then one day in a city council meeting, when Randy was not being made to feel very welcome there, he got up to speak. People were booing him. People were trying to get him to be quiet, yelling things at him. And this 87-year-old farmer named Dee got up, red in the face, and screamed, "You all better be quiet and listen to Randy. He has some good ideas and you're gonna let him talk." And that moment, shockwaves went through that community, shockwaves of temperance and understanding. And maybe those people didn't agree with what Randy said after that, but they were changed even a little bit. And that's why Randy's retirement is not a loss. In fact, the fact that he was able to retire on his terms is proof that regenerative farming is viable. It is a viable career. Now, he said that he wouldn't have been able to do this. He said this many times. He wouldn't have been able to do this without the support of Caputo's, the customers at Caputo's, and the many chefs that have shown him support on their menus in our community. So the real victory is the lessons Randy taught us and the impact he had on his community, even those that didn't agree with him. And these all live on in us. Just because we can't get his cheese anymore doesn't mean that it's over. The ripples he created in the community are the truth, and they will live on through our efforts. As long as we don't give up, that truth will never be extinguished. So I want to end on a note of gratitude, specifically to Randy himself. Randy, thank you so much for teaching me how to continue with hope and love in the face of despair. I am much stronger for having known you. Thank you very much.